Tesla everyone. Good morning. Tesla Shanti ji. Tesla Mark. Tesla and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, those who are living across the countries. And before we start our program, I like to request everybody, if you are comfortable with keeping your videos open, kindly keep your video open and put your microphone on mute so that it would have to avoid any interruption, and keeping the videos on, it would have an interactive session with our Geshe. And hello, Tesle, those who are watching live from Facebook and YouTube from Tibet House. And I hope everyone is keeping well and healthy. And I'm Tenzin Doma, currently working as a program coordinator of Tibet House New Delhi. And on behalf of Tibet House New Delhi, we welcome you to commemorate this day as the ceremony of remembrance, which also corresponds to the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi. This year marks the 28th anniversary of the presentation of the Buddha statue by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama to the government and the people of India on the occasion of Gandhi Jayanti. Each year on this historic day, Tibet House organized a ceremony of remembrance is observed to reflect upon the messages of the Buddha, Mahatma Gandhi, and His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. So before further ado, I would like to request Venerable Geshe Dorji Damdul, Director of Tibet House, New Delhi, to kindly proceed the ceremony. Thank you.
Okay, Trashidele, all of you. um, it's been quite some time that we are meeting again. And this is program coordinator Tizumala well explained that today corresponds to the what Tibetan calls as the Remembrance Day, the 29th Remembrance Day of the day His Holiness the Dalai Lama offered or presented the Buddha statue in the Buddha Jayanti Park here in Delhi, a beautiful park here in Delhi, blessed by His Holiness so many times by giving teachings there, public addresses there, and particularly offering this huge Buddha statue, Buddha touching the ground, the gesture a statue to the government and the people of India as a thank you gift from His Holiness and the 6 million Tibetans. In commemoration of that, and that was also presented on the Mahatma Gandhi's birthday. That corresponds to October 2nd. And the this the work was primarily the assigned by His Holiness to Tibet House, Delhi, and my predecessor, Venerable Tobum Rinpoche, he put all the effort to make it happen, casting the Buddha statue, bringing the experts to make the Buddha statue, and also the canopy for the Buddha statue. So all these things were done by Venerable Tobum Rinpoche, my predecessor, the former director of Tibet House, and his ones also instructed Tibet House to organize this Remembrance Day every year. On this day corresponding at this day to remember His Holiness the Dalai Lama's presentation of this Buddha statue to the government and the people of India as a thank you gift for their incredible kindness all these many years, for giving shelter to the Tibetans here in India for the last more than 60 years. So, as a gesture of the observing this day, for the last many years, since my predecessor, that reciting sutras in Sanskrit, in Pali, in Hindi, in Tibetan, in the in English. So this was a kind of tradition, and we continue with this tradition. Then the last 2 years hit by COVID, we have been doing just online, and so this year as well, as added to the gesture of what we've been doing to for this the Remembrance Day, the ceremony of the Remembrance Day, is His Holiness's another advice to conduct the ceremony of undertaking Aspiration Bodhisattva vow. So this takes like 1.5 hours to 2 hours. So given that we cannot conduct the program in person as of yet, so we just do this Bodhicitta day to take the Aspiration Bodhisattva vow online. And then later on, so very soon we are hoping to open Tibet House up for the visitors, outside visitors, and to conduct programs offline here in Tibet House, including the Nalanda Master's Course, Nalanda Diploma Course, and other programs, the conferences, the festivities, then the lectures and so forth, exhibitions and so forth in person. Okay, so with this in mind, let us turn to page 3. So given that that almost all of you are familiar with this program, undertaking the ceremony of taking the Aspiration Bodhisattva vow, which is extremely precious for all of us, Particularly, I can see that many of from not a master's course, not a diploma course, not a certificate course. You know the value of this Bodhicitta. How? We begin by the cultivating a sense of, the holistic sense of understanding that finally what I'm seeking is to get away from miseries and at least to minimize my miseries and expand my happiness. And that we know, we have learned that to minimize these miseries, we need to know what attracts these miseries, this self-grasping ignorance, afflictions, contaminant karma. And to remedy this is the wisdom of emptiness supported by renunciation. And for the bodhicitta, bodhicitta meaning to expand your happiness, the secret of the happiness lies in your, say, cultivating the unconditional love towards all the beings. And even that, the let us not imagine, let us not think that we are doing some favor for other people, rather that the fact that you are being kind, you practice compassion, universal compassion towards others, so that is for my own benefit, that I become a happier person. If you feel that, then this practice will not make you make you go for make you go to the face difficulties like burnout cases or agitation and so forth, depression and so forth. So instead, it will always keep you so motivated and driven with this aspiration. So, the that being the case, let us say the set a proper motivation. Let us visualize the Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas Bodhisattvas in the space in front of us, so loving, caring, and embracing. And also for the Bodhicitta field, let us visualize your two kind parents and all your family members, including children and all the human beings, animals, insects, hungry ghosts, hell beings, god and goddesses, spirits, and living no beings aside. Just keep them all in your visualization with so much love and care and affection. And the purpose of this practice is to awaken the Buddha nature within you, the seed of perfection within you. No matter who you are, let's say you be, let's say, male, female, or educated, uneducated, Easterner, Westerner, or Southerner, or the Northerner, whoever you are, you have a seed of perfection. This seed of perfection, from that point of view, we're all same. Nobody's higher, nobody's lower. We're all equally important. We all have the capacity to get rid of all our miseries and embrace the maximum happiness. And this, given that the seed is there, seed of perfection is there, like the gold when mixed with the mud, our job is to get into the mud so that gold inside will glow. So likewise, we have the gold like Buddha energy inside us, zero perfection. Our job is to remove the mental mud to make this Buddha nature manifest fully so that you don't experience miseries and you experience infinite happiness. So to make this Buddha nature be awakened is by removing by resorting to the very powerful remedies to overcome mental defilements. And the remedies, the ultimate remedy lies in the wisdom of emptiness, which to be supported, which to be motivated by that driving force of bodhicitta, which in turn is supported by the renunciation. So with this mind, with a great desire to activate this Buddha energy inside yourself and for all the other dimensional beings, we are on a daily basis we have to do something. And today is a great reminder for us, the day His Holiness the Dalai Lama, a great sun, a great the treasure on this earth, the beacon of hope, beacon of negotiation, compassion on this earth, that he presented the image of the Buddha, the image of the ultimate compassion, ultimate bodhicitta, ultimate wisdom on this earth to the people in the government of India. So this day we take it as a great opportunity for us to make a very strong a sense of the reminder within us that I should put my effort to activate this Buddha nature. So with this in mind, imagining that all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas are with you and that you the lead this practice and all your family members, all the demonstrations, they are joining you and so happily joining you in this journey of cleansing the mental defilements and to make this Buddha nature within the individual to manifest. Okay, page 3. And through your great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And through your great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. And teach by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Sanje joda soge chonam la chanjo bardo dani kebe sonam ge dola benjere sanje jo barasho sanje joda soge chonam la chanjo bardo dani gyapso che dage jinso kebe sonam dola benjere sanje jo barasho. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seeking pacification to complete peace, which through the knowledge of paths causes those helping migrate to achieve the aims of the world, and through the possession of which helps subdue and expand the varieties of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings, the teacher, Sugata, and protector to your prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of vast and profound, who eternally shines for the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I journey the matter of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetu desham dathagato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum desham dathagato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham dathagato yavatat desham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata, the cessation causes as well as taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration free, clearly and non-composite. Such is the nectar of Dharma I've discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I will return to the woods. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is a professional wisdom, which is unborn, unsees, and has the nature of space. Is the object of apprehension and self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas, of 3 times, obeisance. The forces of Buddha's teachings. All composite things are impermanent, all contaminated things are the nature of suffering, all phenomena are the nature of emptiness and selflessness, transcending sorrows, peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha, the Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge in the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end with the expense of billions of eons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine light of Dharma for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you're attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you're attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you're attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Praise to Shikam Buddha. As we recite this, just see if you have, of course, the Buddhas, they praise for his qualities, and see if you have some of these qualities within you. And the point is not that if you praise the Buddha, then the Buddha will be happy, bless you. No, this is not a connotation. Instead, it is that the qualities with which the Buddha is praised, see if you have some of these qualities. This is a reminder for us that these are the qualities on the basis of which your Buddha nature, seated perfection within you, can be awakened. And if you do have these qualities, rejoice. Rejoice and try to cultivate, try to nurture them further. And if you don't have these qualities, but the seeds of these qualities are no doubt within you, and see how to cultivate these qualities and then nurture them. This is the whole idea. This is how we become a happier person, and someone who's a more meaningful person in a family, to make the family the source, the major factor for the cohesion of the family, to see that the whole family come together. It's because of you become a better person, more compassionate person. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha, to the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed. Teacher regards in human beings, to you, the complete and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subdued from the Shakya clan, I praise to make offerings and go for refuge. When O supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you pace our seven strides, then set him supreme in this world. To you who are wise, then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blesses in the three worlds, winner of the best Lord to your prostrate. With a supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold to your prostrate. Lustrous like you, the three worlds are not, incomparable wise one to your prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit we call it is like a vast ocean. To you, the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly, this is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through this marriage, may sentient beings attain the rank of all saying, subdue the four faults, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Okay. Şu da mıdır? Olur. Okay. Um, let's read the Heart Sutra. And in reading Heart Sutra, we should remember 3 points. One is, what is the question asked by Of course, the background is very clearly indicated here. The Buddha presiding over the congregation, and then the Buddha, the in meditative state, the Buddha blessed Shariputra to stand up to ask question to Avalokiteshvara, and Avalokiteshvara responded to the question asked by Shariputra. And in this connection, there are 3 things not to miss. Number 1 is, what is the question asked by Shariputra? Number 2, what's the response given by Avalokiteshvara? And a third, what's the benefit if we practice, if each one of us, we practice as per the instruction given by Avalokiteshvara to Shariputra? So the question asked by Shariputra is, how should the child of the lineage practice the perfection of wisdom? Indicating that each one of us, when we desire to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings, in other words, to awaken the seed of perfection within you, you become the child of the lineage. And of course, we talk about the young prince and who is the lineage holder of the kingship, but the best of the lineage is the lineage of the Buddhas, lineage of the perfection. where, in which case, although we may not be the lineage holder of a king or queens and so forth, but no doubt we, each one of us we can become the lineage holder of the best of the lineages, which is the lineage of the full awakening. And so how should this person, you as one who aspire to awaken your Buddha nature within us, to practice, how should you practice it? So Aravalukiteshvara went on to explain what attracts all these defilements within the mind, which obscure this the incredible, the precious treasure within us, is the to see the things in the wrong way, ignorance, and to see things as so objectively real, while in reality things exist only as subjectively real, like a dream. Only when you discover that things are all dreamlike, then all the fears of your dreams will stop, all your miseries will stop, and your mind will experience the ultimate peace and infinite happiness. And this you share with all the demonstration beings. So this is the response given by the Avalokiteshvara. And then the benefit of this is that you will be able to free all your miseries, all your fears, and you will be able to embrace the maximum happiness for yourself and for all your dear sentient beings. Okay, with this in mind, imagine that you are leading this recitation and all beings are joining you. The Heart Sutra, the Professional Wisdom Sutra. I prostrate to the Arya Tribal Gem. Thus did I hear at one time the Buddha was dwelling on the mass of Vulture's mountain in Rajgriha, together with a great community of monks and a great community of bodhisattvas. At that time, the Buddha was absorbed in the concentration on the categories of phenomena called profound illumination. Also, at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Aravalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound illumination of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then, through the power of the Buddha, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara. How should any child of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom train? He said that, and the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Shariputra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage or daughter of the lineage who wishes to practice the activity of the profound professional wisdom should look upon it like this, correctly and repeatedly beholding those five regates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is not other than form. Form is also not other than emptiness. In the same way, fading, discrimination, composition of factors in consciousness are empty. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are empty, without a characteristic, unproduced, unceased, stainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore, because in emptiness there is no form, no fading, no discrimination, no composition factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, no sound, no smell, no taste, no object to touch, no phenomenon. There's no I element and so on, including no mind element, no mental consciousness element. There's no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance and so on, including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation path, and there's no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, bodhisattvas rely on and dwell in perfection wisdom, the mind without obscuration, and thus without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the three times also manifest the complete awaken to unsurpassable, perfect, complete enlightenment, reliance on the perfection of wisdom. Therefore, the mother of the professional wisdom, the mother of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequaled, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as truth since it is not false. The mother of professional wisdom is declared, Dhyatha Om Gade Gade Bara Sam Gade Bodhi Soham. Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva, should train in profound profession of wisdom like that. Then the Buddha rose from that concentration, commanded the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that, it is like that. One should practice a profound professional wisdom, just as you've indicated, even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Buddha, having thus spoken, the Venerable Shariputra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, to surrounding the entirety, along with the world of gods, humans, asuras and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised, as spoken by the Buddha. Okay, let us recite this mantra together. And while we recite mantra, just again, this should be a reminder for us that I should not stay as ordinary as what I'm today. I should keep improving myself by activating my the two mental facets. One is the wisdom, the intelligence, and the other one is the compassion. And the compassion is the one which actually dissolves the barriers. Therefore, your mind expands in space and in time. Not only today, not only the next life, but the infinite, the time in infinity. So with this, you see that the problems that you face today, of for example, like the problem, the pain of losing the dear ones in this life, it's not just this life. The innumerable lifetimes where for sure you can see the time, you can see things in time and space in infinity. With this, you see that everything is a very holistic one thing where the you can benefit all the beings, even those people who the disappear from your sight today. You're going to meet them in the future. That you have the responsibility to help them by reaching out to them with the infinite compassion in time and in space. And how to make it possible is through your sharpening your intelligence, making your intelligence very profound and vast. So this says, and the reminder that I should work on these two matters to cultivate the infinite compassion and to cultivate a very profound and vast the intelligence, the wisdom, so that my compassion will become a skillful compassion to embrace all the dear sentient beings. And imagine that you are reciting this and all beings are joining you. Deata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha Tyatha Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. All phenomena arise on it. By the teachings of the three supreme jewels possessing power of truth, may inner and outer hindrance be transformed, may they be dispelled, may they be non-existent, may they be pacified, may all negative forces opposed to the Dharma be completely pacified, may the host of 80,000 obstacles be pacified, may we be separated from problems and conditions harmful to the Dharma, may all enjoyments be in accord with the Dharma, may auspices of perfect happiness pervade this place now. Foundation of all good qualities. This is like the roadmap. The mede children. Okay, short mantle offering. This ground anointed with perfumes, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, four continents, the sun, and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha filter and offer it. May all sentient beings enjoy this pure land. O Sajibage Joje Mendo Tam Reram Leje Nye De Gyamba De San Yue Xian Du Me Den Bu Ba Yin Zhu Gu Nam Da Xian Lai Chu Ba Rai Shu. The four Dhammas of Venerable Kambupa. May I be blessed that my mind is directed towards the Dharma. May I be blessed that my Dharma practices on the proper path. May I be blessed that the path is free of flaws. And may I be blessed that the flaws are seen in the light of exalted wisdom. The four Dhammas of Venerable Bhikshu Mahasattva. becoming utterly frustrated with the ignorance that grasps at true existence. Please bless me to with genuine renunciation, seeing all aspects of samsara as viciously repulsive. Please bless me that my management overflows with the precious bodhicitta that cherishes others more than myself. Please bless me to have an immaculate experience of the wisdom of emptiness that does not see even an atom of intrinsic reality on the basis of understanding how things come into being by dependent origination through mere conditioning. Please bless me that my management overflows with the precious wisdom of non-duality, bliss and emptiness. Edam Guru Radha Mende Lagam Nirateyame. Okay, next is the roadmap to awakening your Buddha nature of the foundation of all good qualities. Just as we read this, it's not just for the sake of reading, but should be reminded within us that something should be invoked within us, some kind of experience, some kind of blessings, and they say at least the meanings be reflected, and that these meanings will shape our mind to become more calm, more peaceful, more compassionate, more sensible, a more say the wisdom driven person, so that the things happening around you, people can learn from you, and things are under control, your control, and your life is way easier and way meaningful to yourself and for everyone around you. The foundation of all good qualities is a kind and perfect pure guru. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once, is clearly meaningful and is difficult to find again. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of virtuous and non-virtuous karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be careful to abandon even the slightest negativity and accomplish all virtuous deeds. Samsaric splendors are unsatisfying and unreliable. Seeking them is the draw to all suffering. Recognizing these shortcomings, please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Led by this pure thought, mindfulness, alertness, and great question arise. The root of the teaching is keeping the Pratamaksha vows. Please bless me to accomplish this essential practice. Just as I've fallen into the sea of samsara, so for all mother migratory beings, please bless me to see this train in Supreme Bodhicitta and bear the responsibility of freeing migratory beings. Even if I develop bodhicitta, but I don't practice the three types of morality, I'll not achieve enlightenment. With my clear recognition of this, please bless me to practice the bodhisattva vows with great energy. Once I pacify distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to generate quickly within my mind stream the unified path of karma by expression inside. Having become a pure vessel by training the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the Supreme Vajra vehicle. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping pure vows and samaya. As I become firmly convinced of this, please bless me to protect these vows in places like my life. Then, having realized the importance of the two stages, the essence of Vajrayana, by practicing with great energy, never giving up the 4 sessions, please bless me to realize the teachings of the Holy Guru. Like that, may the Gurus who showed the noble path and the spiritual friends who practice it for long lives, please bless me to pacify completely all outer and inner hindrances. In all, life is never separate from perfect gurus. We enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of sages on the path, my quality in the state of Vajratara. Okay, we'll say this mix of the first, the English, followed by the chanting in Tibetan. You are Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-referential compassion, and Manjushri, master of flawless wisdom, as well as Vajrapani, destroy hosts of demons without exception, Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows, Losang Tabai your feet and make prostrations. And those of us who know how to chant this will recite with me. And those of us who do not know, just listen to us and join us. And as we recite this, we just skip the third line. It's not for any other reason. I just accommodate with the melody. Myo me tse te je re se te ne ke be om bo jam be yam Khanjen ke be zu ge zong ga ba lo sa cha be sha la so wa de me me za ve te che che re se che me ke me on bo jang be yam 간제 겹에 쪼게 쪼가바 로사 차베 샤블라 소와데 간제 겹에 쪼개 쪼가바 로사차베 샴라 소와데. Okay, generally the Madhu Consummate Yoga, this is constituted of four practices. The first one is single point meditation. Okay, since that I can see that most of you have your you have your own personal practice. I can see that, so therefore no need of instructions. Let us do 5 minutes of breathing meditation, and 5 minutes breathing meditation. Again, a breathing, or the Buddha, the visualization of the Buddha, the meditation or the awareness meditation, whatever meditation that you have been doing. Just the idea is that meditation is twofold. One is analytical meditation, to bring about sharpness of intelligence, and the other one is the stability meditation, to bring about stability, whereby your mind, the intelligence that you have cultivated, to penetrate through the reality, ultimate reality, that this must become extremely stable, like the Mount Meru, like the Mount Everest, very stable, that it is not being wavered by any emotional stirs. So for that, and this, the combination of the very sharp intelligence to penetrate reality, and the very stable, the mind, this combination is to be employed as a remedy to overcome all your mental developments. For that matter, we need to train in those two things initially as separately. And as part of this, first we do the single point meditation. Ready? 5 minutes. Okay, thank you. Next is renunciation of the four practices. The first one is single point meditation. Second one is renunciation. Number three is bodhicitta. Number four, emptiness. And then we take the aspiration bodhisattva vow. Okay. For the renunciation, it's going to be the guided meditation. Um, what we do is that we try to, they say, follow the instructions and as much as possible to invoke your respective experiences. So this is the what to be done. Are you ready? Okay, renunciation. Our renunciation is to renounce your miseries. To renounce miseries, we need to know how to renounce the causes of the miseries. And the Buddha identified that the causes of miseries, the lies, finally, the cause of miseries lies in the self-grasping ignorance. And this ignorance, of course, there are many layers. The Buddha identified particularly four levels of ignorance. Ignorance, misconceiving impermanent phenomena as permanent, misconceiving the impure things as pure, misconceiving miseries as happiness, and misconceiving what is selfless nature as of selfhood. To remove these levels of these kinds of ignorance, the Buddha taught the four seals. The first, all composite things impermanent. All composite here, composite connoting anything which is constituted of the material parts and temporal parts. What is composed of these things should necessarily be impermanent in nature. And this impermanence is of two kinds, gross impermanence and the subtle impermanence. And of course, it is so important for us to reflect on the gross impermanence. And failing to meditate on this, when we do encounter with the gross impermanence, experience with gross impermanence, it can really shed us into a deep depression and the anxiety. So the beautiful things that we experience every day, almost like every time we experience something beautiful, it ends. And the Buddha indicated, whatever gathers will end in separation. Whatever is born ends in death. Whatever is accumulated ends in exhaustion. And whatever stands will fall. This is relative impermanence. And in our life, we see that the big companies, we seem to be so iconic, they even come to liquidation, come to bankruptcy, and dissolution of the companies. For example, like the big airline, the flight company, airplane companies, or say the Jet Airways, Kingfisher, and so forth. Big companies, they are just coming to total liquidation, impermanence. From that point of view, the people, things that existed 100 years ago, 200 years ago, where are they today? 200 years ago, perhaps like 5 billion human beings or 4 billion human beings, where there today not even a single person is left. That is for sure. And among them, there were people of your age, who are younger than you, who are older than you, and today not even a single person is left. They're all gone. This is reality. 200 years down the line in the future, 8 billion, now the human population hitting 8 billion, the 8 billion. In 200 years in the future from now, how many of them will be left? Not even a single person will be left then, that's for sure. For some reason, for some excuses, the one person will disappear. People will disappear one by one, one of the one. After 200 years, after 150 years from now, not even the newborn baby today will be alive then. All gone. Whether your aspirations are fulfilled, not fulfilled, everything is gone by then. Just a handful of people will be remembered, people who left a mark on this earth, will be left. Otherwise, 99.99% of the people like us will all disappear in the thin air, will not even be remembered. This is the meaning of all composite things in Brahman. Yes, that's very true. And let's not be scared of thinking these realities, because the more we think about these, the more we can see things broader in time and in space, and then we can plan the future. The further away futures we can plan accordingly, so that you not have to suffer in the future. And for this gross impermanence to be a reality, there must be the subtle impermanence, the subtle changes happening underway. The change that you see in decades is possible, only if there is a change happening annually, monthly, weekly, daily, hourly, minute by minute, second by second, millisecond by millisecond, nanosecond by nanosecond. In other words, all the composite things, composite phenomena, they are marked by the subtle impermanence of momentariness. All composite phenomena, it is only our optical delusion that we see things as so static, our body is so static, as on your house is so static, the traffic, the sun, moon, the world, the people around you, the companies, we see them as so static. In actuality, no composite phenomena exists. They exist in the very next moment. It is all gone. This is transitoriness. It's very scary though to reflect on this, and yet if you can reflect on these, many of our unnecessary problems will be solved. The Buddha taught that of all the foot imprints, the imprint of the elephant is the supreme. Of all the meditation on impermanence is supreme. It's only for the reason that with the impermanent sense of urgency will come to us, with this, all body to become so meaningful, and will not squander, will not waste our time of the trivialities when we see the impermanent reality of the composite phenomena. So with this, we see that all composite things move so fast. Our body moves so fast. Our mind moves so fast. The world in which we live moves so fast. Imagine that you are thrown in a very fast-moving train by an unknown person. The faster the train moves, the more the fear. Why? We don't know where this train is taking us. Tell me, who decides where this train takes you? It's decided by the train driver. If the train driver is under the control of the terrorists or the militants, no doubt it will take you to a slaughterhouse. In our case, unfortunately, our mind, which is like the train driver, that is the one which drives our existence by the force of the worst of the terrorists, the self-grasping ignorance, complemented by the self-centered attitude. So the worst of contaminations, where you are driven by the worst of contaminations, will only take us to miseries. This is what the Buddha indicated as all contaminated things are of suffering nature. Suffering like what? Sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, and so forth. So, and this one moment of such a pain is good enough to nullify all your past experiences of miseries and the experience of happiness, the celebrations, the festivities, the birthday parties, and so forth. You realize that all these, the wonders of the happiness, they are like so shallow, gloomy, then nothing really is of any substance there. Yes. But when will this come to an end? It will come to an end only by concerted effort. Without the concerted effort, it will only perpetuate. It's just an endless cycle. Incessantly, it will continue. This misery will continue. So what kind of effort is required? We need to put effort to get rid of the root cause of the miseries. What's the root cause? Ignorance. And how to get rid of this ignorance? To get rid of the ignorance which is like darkness, it is only removed by the introduction of the light. So it is only through introducing the light of the wisdom that the darkness and ignorance can be eradicated. What is the light of the wisdom? The wisdom is the discerning mind whose apprehension of the object tallies with reality. What's the reality? The reality is what the Buddha indicated as the third seal, that everything is the nature of emptiness, selflessness, that everything is like a dream, that you wake up, you don't have to be afraid, be scared of the dream, the nightmare. Because this all, you come to realize that it's not real, it's not coming from your subject. That's true. How can I get there? Okay, let's quickly meditate on this emptiness of the self. What are you doing? I'm meditating. And the 5 points with which to meditate emptiness are: first, the self. And how does this self appear to you? Like a dream or as so objectively dear? Of course, so objectively dear. And this belief is self-grasping ignorance. And how do you know that this self doesn't exist the way it appears as objectively real? Remember what Arjuna said: if the mirage were to be water, one of those close by the mirage see water. Okay. So likewise, if this self were to exist objectively, why don't I see the self as I go closer to the object? Okay, now let us go closer to the object. Going closer to the object is known as the subjective self to ultimate analysis. Subjective self to ultimate analysis, what do we see? We just ignore all those things which are not self, because you're only interested to see what is objective self. And subjective self to ultimate analysis, we end up seeing the very thin layer of the skin, behind that the fatty tissues, behind that the cartilages, the muscles, the whole skeleton, the heart, the lungs, the liver, pancreas, stomach, intestine, gallbladder. None of these solid parts is this objective self. And these solid parts constitute element earth. In other words, element earth is not to be identified as intrinsically as to be objectively as to the self. True. What next? Element water. The 4 liters of blood which is pumped in and out by the heart to different parts of the body. Of course, that is not the self. Element fire. 2006 joules of energy that your body has. Of course, that is not the self. Keep that aside. Element of air. 4.6 liters of air that we breathe in and out through our lungs to different parts of the body. Of course, that is not the self. Element space. 99.9% of the body is vacuum in nature. But I'm not a vacuum. I'm a solid person. Even the space is also not me. What is left now? Element of mind, element of consciousness left. Okay. I'm a male, I'm a female. My mind does not have a gender, and gender is posited on the basis of the body. And also that people can see me, but people cannot see my mind. So therefore even the element of the mind also not me. Okay. Now what do you see? I just see 6 elements. Which of 6 elements do I identify as this as objectively the self? None of 6 elements is to be identified as objective self. If this is not about identified as the objective self, then see if the self still exists objectively, different from the 6 elements. Remove the 6 elements, what do you see? Nothing is left there as the self. Stay in this experience for a while. From the object, what is there to be identified as the self? Nothing to identify as the self. Stay in this experience. In the non-affirming negative experience of this emptiness of self. Stay in this experience. Okay, that's amazing experience. But what's the benefit of this meditation? Yes, just as the self is seen to be empty of intrinsic reality, of objective reality, and because of which you can feel a tinge of a fear, in some cases a tinge of a tickling sensation in your body, in some cases a tinge of extremely tranquil feeling. If these things do happen, you're very fortunate. If not, don't worry. Through more extensive studies and reflection, this is what is bound to happen to you. This is the initial entry into your fearlessness, experience of fearlessness. Okay. Just as the self dissolves, if you subject all your miseries to the subjective analysis, you see that all these miseries are sickness, aging, death, tension, depression, anxiety, anguish, they will all dissolve likewise. And the moment the sorrow dissolves, sorrow is transcended, your peace is restored. You could feel the extremely the profound eternal peace is experienced. This is what the Buddha indicated as transcending sorrow is absolute peace. Stay in this experience for a while. And the desire or the aspiration to experience this emptiness where all your miseries are transcended, all your sorrows are transcended, this aspiration is known as renunciation. This is the ultimate understanding of the renunciation. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, slowly we'll switch to the Bodhicitta practice. Okay, ready? For the Bodhicitta, we'll do the form. Of course, when you're doing that by yourself, on your own, it's advised to do the one of the two methods. The method of equalizing and exchanging the self for others, or the sevenfold cause effect method to generate Bodhicitta. So whereas, as we here in group, we do the first two immeasurables, and then followed by the Bodhicitta commitment. Ready? Try to follow the instructions and invoke the experiences to the best you can. And at times, it may sound the little superficial. It doesn't matter. It is like practicing music. So where initially it's purely superficial, and there's no music coming out at all. It's just the mimicking of your teacher. That's it. And later, over time, with the practice, it'll become real beautiful music. This is how this mind of the Bodhicitta, the unconditional love of the Bodhicitta, can be invoked by the meditation on this, what initially seems as very superficial. Ready? First, immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the causes of suffering. The cause of suffering primarily consisting of a self-grasping ignorance and self-centered attitude. May all my dear sentient beings be freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are freed from suffering and the cause of suffering. The Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you're making such a courageous commitment, you're intensely happy, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke their compassion, omniscient minds to send for nectars and very soothing lights towards you and all dear sentient beings. Their mere touch with lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours, washes away all the miseries and the cause of miseries from you and all dear sentient beings. And you witnessing such a miracle is happening towards all the dear sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sighing with relief. Next, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable loving kindness. How good would it be that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. May all my dear sentient beings be endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. I'll take the responsibility that all my dear sentient beings are endowed with happiness and the causes of happiness. The Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, witnessing that you making such a courageous commitment, they're intensely happy and proud of you. This pride and happiness invoke the compassion of omniscient minds of all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas to send for nectars, very soothing lights towards you and all dear sentient beings. The mere touch of the lights and nectars with the bodies beings yours instills in all happiness and cause of happiness within the minds of the sentient beings yourself. And you witnessing such miracles happening with all the dear sentient beings, you're intensely happy. Take 3 deep breaths, sigh with relief. Underscoring all the four immeasurables is unconditional love towards all the dear sentient beings. With folded hands, let us all make a Buddhist commitment, and I'll say this line 3 times, and we'll all say this together wholeheartedly, to the best you can. Even though it can be superficial, it doesn't matter. This is how we practice. This is the meaning of the practice. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Okay, slowly transform this most beautiful mind of the Bodhicitta into a spotless, clean, moon-discovered heart, horizontally setting at heart. Okay, that's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha for the benefit of all demons and sentient beings. But how do you know that you can become a Buddha? No matter how much you squeeze a handful of sand, no oil comes out of that. Yes, that's true, but I'm not like a handful of sand, but more like a handful of sunflower seeds, squeezing which oil does come out of the seed of perfection within me, of the seed of Buddha energy within me, which is known as the Tathagata Garbha. But how come that is not activated, that is not awakened since time immemorial till now? Yes, that's true. It's all because that I'm being deceived by these two demons, self-grasping, ignorance, self-centered energy thus far. And today I'm disillusioned by these two. I'm going to do everything to exterminate these two so that my Buddha nature will become manifest to become full-fledged at the Buddhahood. Okay, how would you do that? Let's quickly receive the experience of the emptiness which we did as the third seal as a part of the four seals. Okay. Again, 5 points on the meditation emptiness, the self. Just see how the self appears to you as so objectively real. And this is self-grasping ignorance. Number 2, the 6 elements. What is the subjective self-ultimate analysis? We see there's nothing but made of 6 elements: earth, water, fire, air, space, and consciousness. Okay, 2 questions. What are you seeing now? I'm just seeing the 6 elements. Second question, where is the self as object real? From the object, there's nothing to be identified as the self. 6 elements, different 6 elements, none of the two holds as to be identified to be the object of the self. So from the self, from the object, where is the self? Nobody will be seen. Stay in this experience for a while. Okay, slowly transform this extremely fearless mind to the wisdom of emptiness. The mere experience of this will dissolve all your fears and anxiety. Slowly transform this fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness into a spotless, clean, white Vajra, vertically sitting on the moon, just your heart. Okay, this is amazing. You have the now the self, the dual bodhicittas. Moon symbolizing conventional bodhicitta to eradicate, to exterminate the self-centered attitude, and Vajra symbolizing the ultimate bodhicitta, the non-dual wisdom of the Arya Bodhisattvas, to exterminate all the mental defilements eventually. That's amazing. So this guarantees that you're going to experience the total fearlessness, infinite happiness eventually. Yes, what about my 2 parents? All my family members, including children and all demon human beings. That's true. But the immense compassion that you feel towards beings, all your demon sentient beings, and this compassion invoke the Vajramun at your heart to multiply infinite number of times. Like rain showers, share one. I'll say one. Share one of the sets. Vajramun at the heart of your mother. One set at the heart of your father. One set with each one of your family members, including children, and one which each of the sentient beings in your country, in the world, in the Milky Way galaxy, in the entire universe, human beings, animals, insects, honeygoats, hell beings, all the creatures in the oceans, all the creatures in the forests, everywhere, everyone has this Vajram. That's amazing. Meanwhile, let us not forget the Buddhist Bodhisattvas. They are watching us with so much love and affection. Yes, why not we invite all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas to be the guests to our undertaking the ceremony of taking the Aspiration Bodhisattva today. So as a gesture of making a request to all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, let us slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations along with all the sentient beings, to make 3 prostrations to all Bodhisattvas. Okay, let's slowly stand up to make 3 prostrations. Okay, let us sit on your right knees. If there's a possibility, I said, to undertake the ceremony, let us sit on your right knees. And given that it'll take a little time, and in the process, if you start to feel the pain, then you can sit in the most comfortable position. Given that that this practice, the focus must not be deviated by the pain. If you start to feel the pain, just then sit in the most comfortable position. Okay. And this is the actual ceremony. We're going to recite the first verse 3 times, followed by the next two verses 3 times. And I'm going to quickly explain this, although most of you know the meaning already, but I can still see that there are some of you who are new to this practice. This is a very important thing that we're doing today in memory of His Holiness the Dalai Lama having presented the Buddha statue to the public and the government of India 29 years ago here in Delhi as a thank you present, thank you gift. So in commemoration of this, the great Bodhisattva of the earth today, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, we are doing this practice. And this is how we can make the greatest meaning out of life for yourself, for your family, and for all the different sentient beings. So what is this? Is to awaken the true nature, the ultimate nature of the purity, the ultimate treasure within you, like the gold mixed with the soil, mixed with the mud. The older nature of the gold is to glow, but you don't see the gold glowing, not because the gold is not there, it's because of the mud. So ordinary people like us, we may dump this, the collection, but the gold experts will not dump this. They'll see the gold there, and they will prove that there's gold there by removing the mud, and gradually as the mud is removed more and more, you will see the gold inside to glow. So this is how we are doing this. So this journey is a journey of, it's a mental journey. It's not external journey, it's a mental journey, a journey of the ultimate meaning for yourself and for everyone. So with this mind and this journey of the enlightenment, for this we need an incredibly great support, and greatest of the support is the Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. The first line says, "I go for refuge in the Triple Gem," and this journey involves the journey. Naturally, the journey involves a road. A road must be clear. They're clear of the obstacles. There should be no trees falling. There should be no the boulders on the road. And the road is none other than your own mind, which undertakes the journey to enlightenment. And this road must be clear of the border and entry of the mental defilements. And the best way by which to do so is by confessing the negativities individually, or by confessing the mental defilements individually. The second line reads, "I confess the negativities individually." So now the road is clear, but if the car does not have fuel, again you cannot undertake the journey. And this car is none other than your own mind, and this car of the mind must have enough fuel of the merit accumulation, merit to the virtues, and the best way by which to do so in a very short span of time is by rejoicing in the virtues of yourself and all the other sentient beings. So the third line says, "I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings." Okay, now the road is clear, and the car has enough fuel. What kind of journey are you going to undertake? So the journey of becoming Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. So the fourth line says, "I'll hold precious Buddha in my heart." So let's say it 3 times. While saying this, just see how much you can invoke their respective meanings and experiences within you. And imagine that you are living this, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas are watching us, and all the sentient beings they are joining us here. Ready? I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddhahood in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. Yeah, come this side.
Bachelor, no sound, no sound.
Okay, sorry. Okay. These two verses are very important. And the first verse is related to all the Buddhas, and the second verse is related to yourself. And the first verse, the what you have promised is to undertake the journey of enlightenment, to awaken your Buddha nature within you, so that all demolition beings can be benefited to the ultimate. But in the history of the humanity, do you see anybody who succeeded in this? Yes, Prince Siddhartha succeeded, and all the Buddhas in the past they succeeded. So how did they succeed? Is for two reasons. The first one is for two factors. One is the very strong motivation that they built, motivation of Bodhicitta, they wanted to become Buddha for the benefit of sentient beings. And to number two, to materialize this aspiration, they engage in the Bodhisattva practices, six perfections and the 10 perfections. If this is how they succeeded, then the second verse says that I will also follow the footsteps by initially generating very strong bodhicitta, and then to materialize the aspiration of bodhicitta, I will also engage in the bodhisattva practices. Okay, I will say this together three times. And imagine that you are leading this recitation, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they are watching us, and your two parents, your children, and all demonstration they are joining you. And during the third repetition, completion of the third repetition, imagine that you receive the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I'll generate the amount of Bodhicitta, and I shall too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of Bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwell in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I'll generate the amount of Bodhicitta, and I shall too successfully follow the Bodhisattva practices. Gurus, Buddhas, and Bodhisattvas, please pay heed to me. Just as previous Buddhas have generated the amount of bodhicitta, and just as they successfully dwelled in the Bodhisattva practices, likewise for the benefit of all sentient beings, I'll generate the amount of bodhicitta, and I shall to successful train in the Bodhisattva practices. Okay, just feel the joy of having received the aspiration Bodhisattva vow. We are very fortunate, and that this incredibly great I say the journey that you've undertaken, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they feel so proud of you. And imagine that your mother, after all these many years of receiving complaints from the school principal, that your daughter, that your son is so mischievous, and today again they see her, she sees that the school principal is coming, and again she's wondering what kind of complaint today. And today's school principal said, no, we have not come here with a complaint, but instead to congratulate you for what? To tell you that your daughter and your son, that this year they are being appointed as the best students of the school. And your mother couldn't believe her eyes and ears. This is exactly what is happening to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas. They are so proud of you today, but the parents feel proud of you, of her small child. This is what all Buddhist Buddhas are feeling today. And this because of this incredible pride and happiness all Buddhist Bodhisattvas feel. Imagine that the Vajra moon at the hearts of all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they multiply infinite number of times. Like rain shower, they descend to merge with the one that you visualize in your heart to become non-dual, stabilized, and blessed. Likewise, all these innumerable replicas of the Vajra moon from the house of Buddhist Bodhisattvas, they descend to merge with the one that you visualize the heart of your mother, and the heart of your father, at the heart of each one of your family members, including children, at the heart of each of the sentient beings here in our own country, in the world, in the universe, in the Milky Way galaxy, and in the entire universe, thereby becoming non-dual, stabilized, and the blessed. Is amazing. This is the greatest day. So you are being so compassionate towards all the demon sentient beings, and you just feel like giving presents, gifts to them. And the best of the gift is the gift of this bodhicitta, the wisdom mountain. And today you gifted them with this gift for all the demon sentient beings. And of all the offerings to make to all Buddhist Bodhisattvas, Buddha himself very clearly indicated that more precious than the offering of the entire universe, with universe filled with gems, diamonds, golds, offered to Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, is the one moment of generation compassion. So if this were the case, what I mentioned of us having taken the Aspiration Bodhisattva vow, and today you made this offering to all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, and of your life, we see that what we did today, this is the greatest of the meaning, and you have given such meaning to your life today. You're very fortunate, and this is all happening because of kindness of all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. As a gesture of thanking all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas for this matter, let us slowly stand up along with all dear sentient beings to make 3 prostrations to all Buddhas, Bodhisattvas. Okay, now please take your seats, sit comfortably. Okay, so we are all very fortunate that today, on the day of the Remembrance Day, we took this Aspiration Bodhisattva vow. Feel the joy of having done this, and then, of course, naturally, the question: well, what about next life? Will we meet with such a practice, the teachings on Bodhicitta, and the wisdom of emptiness, for that matter? We have to include this in the form of a very powerful prayer that in the future lifetimes will come in contact with the teaching on the practice of the Bodhicitta, the true Bodhicittas, and also that once you come in contact, that we rigorously engage in the Bodhisattva practices. So with this in mind, let us recite the verse together. Imagine that you are leading this recitation, and all the Buddhist Bodhisattvas are watching us, and all your family members are joining you, and all dear Mother Sentient beings are with you too. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious Bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Okay, then to rejoice, so that in the future lifetimes when we meet with these teachings, then to fully delve into this practice with a great rigor, so that the journey of Gade, Gade, Para, Gade, Parasam, Gade, Bodhisvaha, you are unraveling this Buddha nature inside to become manifest, for that to be very efficient and successful. We cultivate this joy in having generated the Bodhicitta this life. In order to further increase this Bodhicitta from now on, those with discernment who have listened to this seeds and awakened the mind of Bodhicitta in this way should highly praise in the following manner. Today, my life has borne fruit. Having well obtained this human existence, I've been born in the family of the Buddha, and now I'm one of Buddha's children. Thus, whatever actions I do from now on must be in accord with the family. Never shall I disgrace or pollute this noble and unsullied race. Just like a blind man discovering a jewel in the Hebrew rubbish, likewise by some coincidence, an awakened mind has been born within me. Is the supreme ambrosia that overcomes the sovereignty of death, is the inexhaustible treasure that illuminates all poverty in the world. It is the supreme medicine that quells the world's disease, is a tree that shelters all beings wandering entirely on the path of conditioned existence. It is a universal bridge that leads to freedom from unhappy states of birth, is the dawning morn of the mind that dispels the torment of disturbing conceptions, is the great sun that finally removes the mystic ignorance of the world, is the quintessential butter from the churning of the milk of Dharma. For all those guests traveling on the path of conditioned existence who wish to experience the boundless happiness, this will satisfy them with joy and actually place them in supreme bliss. Today, in the presence of all protectors, I invite the world to be guests at a festival of temporary and ultimate delights. May gods, demigods, all be joyful. Okay, dedication. Okay, so with this, let us dedicate the merits thus gathered, that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that he lives long and that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously, particularly his vision and his legacy for the world, the universal ethics to be introduced as a program, education program in the modern education the system. This is what His Holiness has been the putting effort in. Let us pray that of course, it has been great, successful thus far in the all over the world, on various levels, in schools, colleges, universities, and institutions, and so forth. Let's still continue to pray that this will be of greatest success in the human endeavors. And with this, the future leaders will come out of this, these education programs with this universal ethics as a part of it. And these future leaders will decide the world not in splits, not in divides, not in fights, not in conflicts, but in reconciliation and to work together where all these trillions of dollars being wasted to defend the borders, to stop them there to for the border tensions, due to the border tensions, annexations, and so forth. All these trillions of dollars can be used for the humanity, for the welfare of the humanity, for to help the old age people, to help the medical sciences, the education, the charity, and so forth, where we can see the flourishing of the humanity. So with this in mind, and also that let's pray that all the great learnings of the different traditions of the Sakya, Kaiku, Nyingma, Gelu, Chinese tradition, Theravada tradition, all these various traditions where the real learning happens, all these centers thrive in the activities of study, reflection, meditation, and all the members there, they live harmoniously, and they find the journey of the practice very successful. And let me also personally dedicate the merits thus gathered, that each one of you, through a concerted effort, be able to soon see the dawn of the wisdom of emptiness and a bodhicitta within you, so that that each one of you becomes such a reliable guide to lead all timorous and shimming to its ultimate happiness. May the teaching of Bodhicitta, the most beautiful mind of the Bodhicitta, and may the teaching of the fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness flourish and the everywhere in the world, in the whole universe. With this mind, let us recite the following verses together. In the land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good. All powerful chariots, Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. Just as brave Manjushri and Samanavada too realize things as they are, also I dedicate all these merits in the best way that I may follow the perfect example. I dedicate all these rules of virtue with the dedication praised as the best by all the Buddhas who appear in 3 times, so that I might perform the noble Bodhisattva's deeds. Chanju samjo rembo je ma ye ba nam ge gyuro je ke ba nyam ba me ba yam kone kondo pe barai sho. May the Supreme Bodhicitta that is not arisen, rest and grow, and may that which is arisen not diminish but increase forevermore. As long as sentient beings remain, as long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel miseries of the world. Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all beings without exception into that enlightened state. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the descended prayers of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas from 3 times, and to the upholding the Dharma teaching realization. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separate from the 4 wheels of the Mahana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, bodhicitta, and the 2 stages. With a wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. May the poor find wealth, those weak with sorrow find joy, and may the fallen find new hope, constant happiness, and prosperity. May all who are sick and ill quickly be freed from the illness, and may every disease in the world never occur again. May the frightened cease to be afraid, and those bound be freed, and may the parties find power, and may people think of benefiting one another. by the merits I've accumulated, may every single being abandon all forms of wrongdoing and perpetually engage in virtue. May they never be parted from the mind of Bodhicitta, and may they always engage in Bodhisattva's contact, and may they be cared for by the Buddhas and relinquish the actions of devils. May no living creatures ever suffer, commit wrong, or ever fall ill, and may no one be afraid or belittled, or their minds ever be depressed. May all the pains of living creatures, through I bring soul upon myself, and through the might of the Bodhisattva Sangha, may all beings experience happiness. Having dispelled all the inner and outer obstacles and downfalls, such as poverty, despair, oppression, cruelty, epidemics, and natural disasters due to environmental degradation, may all beings forever enjoy the glory of peace and happiness. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I send the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. By the power of practicing and supplicating to you, may all be free from sickness, poverty, and conflicts, and may Dharma and the auspicious and proliferate in all the places where we abide. The path of unity and emptiness and compassion is lucidly explained by the protector Buddha Dharma and the beings of the land of snows. That the Lord is held with Tenzin Gyatso, we supplicate you that your wishes are fulfilled spontaneously. May the operations of evil thoughts and deeds of negative forces of humans and non-humans who help by merit through perverted prayers against the teachings of the Buddhas be truly vanquished through the power of the truth of the three jewels. By the dependent realization of profound sessions of appearance and emptiness, together with the force of great compassion of the three jewels and the power of the truth, and through the virtue of the infallible law of karmas and their fruits, may this truthful prayer of ours be unhindered and quickly fulfilled. May the teaching of this beneficial one till world's end be unshaken by the winds of evil thoughts. May it always be met by innumerable beings who find conviction in the teacher by understanding the teaching's true nature. May I never falter, even for an instant, to uphold the excellent way of that sage, which illuminates the principle of dependent origination through all my births, even giving away my body and life. May I spend day and night carefully reflecting by what means can I enhance his teaching, achieved by the Supreme Savior, through strenuous efforts over countless eons. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may enjoy the magnificent Dharma by completing the qualities of the stages and the paths, may could attain the state of Vajradhara. Throughout my future lifetimes, may always be guided by the Ramajishri and be able to uphold the Dhamma in general and the teachings of independent origination in particular, even in the course of my life. Deyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswatyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheila. Thank you. Thank you, Tibet House.
Thank you. Thank you, Rinpoche. See you later.
See you later.
Geshe, thank you, Tibet House.